Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys of Magic. This is Hunter, Steven, and Shane. Say what up, boys?
Hello.
What up, nerds?
We are back. That is right. Back in the thick of it. It is another spoiler season. This time, Modern Horizons 3. I feel like we've been in spoiler season for the last month because of all the leaks, but we're officially in spoiler season. So today was this exclusive stream of Modern Horizons 3. It's pretty cool. We got a lot of cards to talk about. Before we do, I just want to remind everybody we're only talking about the rares and the mythics in this video. If you guys wanted to see all of the commons and uncommons as well from this set, check our Instagram in the description down below. It's at Guys at Magic. We post all of the cards that are spoiled. And we're only going to be talking about new cards. So any reprints that are coming to this set as well, I'm not going to talk about here because you guys know what they do. And if you don't, look into it. Check our Instagram. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. So let's start it off with this first card they talked about. It is Powerbalance. It's 2 red mana for an enchantment that says whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may reveal the top card of your library. If you do, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost if the 2 spells have the same mana value.
Cool.
I think we all have a saying called free spells are
Free
never
spells
bad.
are never bad.
That is just a value engine that just sits on the board. That's pretty nuts.
2 red pips, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I love this. I mean, Counterbalance is a monster of a card, so let's throw a little red in here now.
I do feel like this whole set is kind of Modern Horizons 3 is like callback. Remember these cards? Like every single card is kind of alluding to an old card, like you just mentioned. Powerbalance, Counterbalance.
Yeah.
So
The member berries, dude. Let's go.
Yeah, this is
I
probably
remember.
probably my favorite subset, man. Commander Horizons 3 has been really good so far.
Funny joke, dude.
Commander Horizons 3. That's pretty good. Blake actually said it on the stream today. Pretty funny to the chagrin of everybody watching. But yeah, I don't think we can say any more things about Powerbalance. Pretty self-explanatory. But is it good enough just to sit there? It doesn't always hit.
I'll agree with you. I think just sitting there, sometimes you might whiff, but the format does have a lot of deck manipulation, and you can kind of mess around at the top of your deck a lot. Surveil came out. I think it's pretty viable right now.
Would agree.
Good point. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on. We got the rest of the Flare cycle. We had the green one in the very first spoiler, and then the blue one in the last one. We've got the rest. So first up, Flare of Malice. It's 2 and 2 black for an instant. It says you may sacrifice a non-token black creature rather than pay its spell's mana cost. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the greatest mana value among creatures and planeswalkers they control. Very cool.
Free spells are never bad.
Free spells are never bad. Yeah,
It's not
sacrifice.
free.
I get
Sacrifice a creature you don't get to. Even for 4 mana, is this good?
I mean, for 4 mana, kind of pushing it, in my
No.
opinion.
4 mana kill all of your opponent's biggest thing.
All of your opponent's biggest thing. Like, that was a weird sentence you just said. Like a plural,
I mean,
not
each
plural.
opponent, right? So
Yeah, you
each
get the
opponent's biggest
one thing. True. Yeah, that's cool.
Their biggest mana value
True.
between creatures and planeswalkers.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure there's a 2 mana black card that does the same thing.
Probably right. I think this
Yeah,
card
well.
needs to be free for it to be the creme de la creme.
Yeah, I mean, adding this into a slot for some removal, especially if you're going to be doing, going wide strategy in black, which is kind of weird. But I mean, you might have a creature or two, so I don't really foresee it being an issue.
I think if you're playing an aristocrat style deck, you don't care. It's just free.
That's true.
Free real estate.
Real estate. But yeah, as you see here, we are switching it up with the card arts and card kind of borders. So here we have the retro frame border. Shane, I know you are a big fan of the retro frame.
I am a big fan of retro. I want to get all of the fetches. I want all the retro frame fetches, please.
I'll be honest with you, man. After watching the stream today, the comments were wild. People kept saying that they were sick and tired of the retro frame. It's kind of like beating a dead horse at this point, but I'm kind of in love with it.
I love it.
I'm on the fence. I'll just leave it at that. We'll move on to a regular frame. It is the white flare. Flare of Fortitude. 2 white, instant. You may sacrifice a non-token white creature rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Until end of turn, your life total can't change, and permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible. Have a little
Very at home.
Really good.
You're not phasing out, so your stuff can just get removed.
At home.
It's not, I mean, I guess, sure. I'll give it to you at home, but I don't know. I mean, doesn't save you from a board wipe.
Doesn't save you from board wipe, but saves from a lot of other stuff. And I think that
I mean, it does save you from a board wipe.
Saves you
You
from
gain
damage board wipes.
indestructible. Yeah.
true, if
Yeah,
it's like a
it's not gonna
blasphemous
save it.
actor.
Yeah, it'll save you from those, but like like a mass exile effect, not gonna save you.
No, I
I
mean,
get it.
everyone that plays white should have farewell in their deck.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I love this card. It when you said it, Shane, that's the first thought that came to my mind. I was like, Mom, can I please buy a Teferi's Protection? It's like, no, we have one at home.
True.
And this is really good. I enjoy it.
I enjoyed as well. Let's move on to the red one. It is Flare of Duplication. It's 1 and 2 red. It's cheaper here. Instant, you may sacrifice a non-token or red creature rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets with a copy.
Banger.
Banger. And the art is a
Pretty good.
banger. Holy moly.
Yeah, the full arts here, as you'll see when we do show the full arts, I don't think I've seen a bad one. It's pretty good.
No, they're all pretty stellar.
Were you trying to say that you didn't like this card, Hunter? Is that what I heard almost?
No, I didn't say that at all.
Oh, I thought you were
like this
about to
card a
like
lot.
wince and go, really? Okay, sorry.
No.
I apologize.
No, I like this card very much so.
Good, because this is nuts.
This is quite nuts. I like every single one of them.
Is this like deflecting spot at home, but not really? You don't like stop what's happening, but you have to copy it.
It's like, I mean, it copies your own stuff too. So,
That's
I mean,
true.
if you really wanted to. But
I
yeah.
like all these flares, dude. I get that the downside is having to set up a little bit of a board, so you're kind of jumping through a little bit more of a hoop than the the free like if your commander's on the field, it's free. This is like you gotta sacrifice something, but I like the flares, dude. I like them.
Yeah, me too. Let's move on. This one is the big baddie. Ulamog is back. This is Ulamog the Defiler. It's 10 mana for a 7/7 legendary creature Eldrazi that says when you cast this spell, target opponent exiles half their library rounded up. It also has wards, sacrifice 2 permanents, and it also says Ulamog the Defiler enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the greatest mana value among cards in exile. It also says Ulamog has Annihilator X, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on it.
Jesus Christ, man.
This card's nuts.
And
This card
comes
resolves
in
your winning.
foil etched. Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
I mean, even like you can cheat this into play, and it's still amazing
True. Give it some
because
counters.
it's an ETB effect. Yeah, it's an ETB effect, and if it says in exile, it doesn't say opponents in exile. Like if you throw something in exile yourself, that's very high CMC just to make this cheaper. Like even that new Eldrazi land that says you can exile a spell to make it pay for 2
Oh,
instead
yeah.
of 1. Exile something crazy like that, then cast this using that extra mana you did it. This comes in with over 7 counters because you have to exile something with mana value 7 or more. It's crazy.
Annihilator 7, dude. What the?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good card.
Dude, even
I
like the
know it, man.
ward is Annihilator at like a little bit. That's crazy.
If I open this card, it's going in Roxanne. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna ramp into this 100%.
If I open
Like,
this card,
this is-
I will give it to you.
Wow, this might be the priciest card of the set. I'm calling it now.
Hey, I'm
This will
a
be
friendly guy.
like a $50 card.
I believe it.
What about me?
Even if you build a Roxanne, I'll give it to you too.
No, look at that.
Could go into a lot of other
Nope,
decks.
strictly Roxanne.
I mean, put it in any counter deck. This one.
This one.
This will be my new $300 upgrade for any counter deck moving forward. You see it. I'm gonna put Ulamog the Defiler in this. Yeah, it's
You heard it
pretty
here
good.
first.
I mean, you do draw a lot of lands, so it's probably really good for you.
Maybe. Moving on to another big bad Eldrazi. It's Kozilek, the Broken Reality. It's 9 mana for a 9/9 legendary creature Eldrazi. It says when you cast this spell, up to 2 target players each manifest 2 cards from their hands. For each card manifested this way, you draw a card. And then it also says other colorless creatures you control get +3/+2. Not as strong as the last Eldrazi we just saw, but pretty good.
Very good.
Yeah, I get that it's good, but giving your your opponent a little bit of card advantage, right? Could you give them a free thing?
You're not giving, I mean, you're forcing them to put it onto the field as 2/2s, right?
Well, up to
That's what manifest means, right?
oh,
You're
two
up to
cards.
2
Got it.
target players,
You're
but 2
making
cards
them.
from their hand. So technically, if you're picking 2 opponents, when they manifest, you're drawing 4, which is
Got
pretty
it.
solid.
But they don't have a choice. I thought with the whole like up to 2, they could like be like, oh, I don't want to do any. You're forcing them to do that. That kind of sucks.
Yeah, you're like, all right, you manifest 2 cards from your hand right now. You're like, oh, and then you can board wipe it. See ya.
Yeah, so it's not bad. Expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive. Like I said, it's not my favorite Kozilek so far, or Kozilek in the game, but yeah, fun Eldrazi. What do you think, Steven?
I mean, I'm not over this card art. This is gorgeous, dude.
Oh, this whole
Reminds me of
treatment, dude.
those Phyrexian, uh, like the
Oh,
Sheoldred, the
yeah,
Jinkataxis.
like the
It is
OG
actually
creators.
concept. If you see
Yeah.
down at the bottom, it says concept Eldrazi.
Oh hell yeah,
Pretty cool. Find this art as well.
love it.
Speaking of really cool art, Shane, let's move on to this next one where you'll be a super fan of it.
Okay.
It's White Orchid Phantom. It's 2 white mana for a 2/2 creature spirit knight. It's got flying, it's got first strike, and it says when it enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target non-basic land. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put on battlefield tapped, and shuffle. By your favorite artist, Richard Kane Ferguson.
Okay,
Shane.
baby. This is a good card. Like Knight of the White
Your
Orchid,
favorite
right?
artist? It is, yeah. It's your favorite artist? It's a spirit?
I guess
Man,
I
look at
gotta
you.
get this card.
You gotta get the full plan out of this one, dude.
This
Yeah,
is
I
a
like
pretty
this
good
a lot.
card though.
We'll probably be at Vegas too, so maybe we can get it signed.
Maybe, yeah.
There you go, yeah. I'm sure he'll be at Vegas. But yeah, dude, this is a really mean mono white land destruction.
I mean, 2 mana, 2/2 for a flying first strike is really good, and then ETB ability, fantastic.
I blow up your Triumph, go get a single basic. Take you off your colors.
Yeah. I love it. This card's awesome.
Yep. Let's move on. The next card is Pearl-Ear, Imperial Advisor. It's 1 and 2 white for a 3/4 legendary creature, Fox Advisor. It's got lifelink, and it says enchantment spells you cast have affinity for auras. It also says whenever you cast an aura spell that targets a modified permanent you control, draw a card. Shane,
Banger. Banger,
look at
dude.
this.
I
Mm-hmm.
know this is already kind of spoiled, right? Like a little bit ago, but holy
This was
moly.
leaked, yeah.
This just
First
goes
time
into
it's talked
any
about on video,
enchantment deck.
but it's pretty nuts.
I love it. I love this card, Fran. It's gonna definitely go in my Iriat deck, but any deck that cares about enchantments that's running white, this card is nuts.
A lot of people in the chat, because there were a lot of modern players, were saying Boggles is so back, baby.
Ah,
Could
true.
be.
I don't play very much modern, but I can see it.
Yeah. What do you think of this, Steven? I know you play enchantment decks.
Yeah, it's making me want to tear down my Goshintai deck and rebuild it. Right now, it's basically a deck that's based around all enchantments, so there's no instants and sorceries. I actually do a partner pairing with, or not a partner, but a companion pairing with Umori, and I think it might be time to change it up.
Take out the
There's a lot of
companion.
support.
Card's awesome, dude.
But yeah, I like it too. I'm excited to talk about this as a potential commander because it does have pretty good potential there too.
Mm.
Maybe.
But
No white, but we'll talk about it later.
yeah, but let's move on. Next up, look at this art. Volatile Stormdrake. It's 1 and a blue for a 3/2 creature Drake. It's got flying and hexproof from activated and triggered abilities. It also says when it enters the battlefield, exchange control of Volatile Stormdrake and target creature and opponent controls. If you do, you get 4 energy counters. Then sacrifice that creature unless you pay an amount of energy equal to its mana value.
Art's amazing.
I
Art
love
is
this card.
amazing. Card is pretty cool too, man.
I love this card so much.
So,
I don't even care about the energy. I really see this like play
Here you
this,
go. Here you
blink
go,
it,
opponent. You get a
sag
3/2
it.
flyer. I'll take your favorite thing.
I mean, not even that, man. I just, just continuously doing that by blinking this card over and over again. It's gonna get aggressive. Like, this might be my new favorite card to blink ever.
You technically you can't blink it because you're exchanging it, so your opponent gains control.
I don't know if I like it as much as was it Gilded Drake or whatever it's called, but I mean it's like a.
I mean, I don't know if this will cost like $300.
I mean it's only costing that much because it's never been reprinted, but
I don't know. I think it's a cool card. Maybe it'll go in the energy deck. We'll see.
Very interesting to see them kind of like going away from the hexproof from certain things and going to very specific things. So
Yeah, always toying
something to
around with
note.
wording. Not bad. Let's move on to a card that I feel like should have been printed in the standard set a couple sets ago. It's Detective's Phoenix. 2 and a red for a 2/2 enchantment creature Phoenix. It's got Bestow of a red and Collect Evidence 6. It's got Flying and Haste, and it says Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has Flying and Haste. It also says you may cast Detective's Phoenix from your graveyard using its Bestow ability. This was this an MKM card that kind of escaped MKM?
yeah, it feels weird.
It murders a Karlov Manor. Yeah, it's weird seeing here. Maybe they play test. My only assumption is they play tested it and they were like, this card's kind of powerful for standard. Let's
Yeah.
move it to modern.
Maybe. Because otherwise, like, collect evidence, I didn't like it as a mechanic then, and then Monkey, I know you didn't like it either, Hunter.
I didn't, but I can see how it's powerful now when I'm seeing it played in standard.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, it's very
some
good in
collect
standard.
evidence cards in standard are pretty good, but I don't know about this one. I mean, maybe they thought a 3-mana 2/2 flying haster would be a little busted in standard. That can
Because you
come
can
back.
bestow it onto a creature, it's like, maybe that's why.
Be pretty easy just to collect evidence with all your burn spells.
Yeah.
100%. It's because it's not like you're getting them back.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think this card's good. It's definitely going to be just modern only. I don't see this going anywhere in Commander, however. Maybe it does
Maybe.
have a home. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. Time will tell.
Time will tell. Moving
You
on.
could put it in Roxanne. Give Roxanne haste.
No, I'm good, thanks. Moving on to the Wheel of Potential. It's 2 and a red for a sorcery that says you get 3 energy counters. Then you pay X energy. Each player may exile their hand and draw X cards. If X is 7 or more, you may play cards you own exiled this way until end of your next turn. We have a new wheel. Member? Wheels?
I do remember Wheels.
Giving the player the option to draw is very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I like this because you can basically draw a fresh 7 if you pay 7 energy. And then you could still play all those other cards until your next turn. And then you also got a fresh 7 that you could possibly do some stuff with. This is really good. It's got a lot of potential.
Potential. That's true. It does have a lot of potential. I think it's pretty interesting the fact that it's really forcing your opponent, maybe that they're doing graveyard strategy or something like that, to exile all the cards from their hand instead of throwing them into your graveyard. Makes it a little trickier.
I'm just happy to see more energy support.
Me too. Energy support's a big thing.
One more thing to keep track of.
Let's move on to a familiar face. We've only seen him with Ren, but this is just 6. 2 and a green for a legendary creature tree folk that is a 2/4 with reach, and it says whenever it attacks, mill 3 cards. You may put a land card from among them into your hand. And as long as it's your turn, non-land permanent cards in your graveyard have retrace. Seems good.
Even likes Mill.
He
This
does.
is
He
more
also likes,
self-mill, but
he also likes
Still says Mill.
land matters, right?
no. Not once have I ever liked the Land Matters deck.
Seems good.
Yeah, so this seems pretty good. I'm
Access
a
to your
fan of it.
graveyard, dude, yeah.
and I am a big fan of the art. I think this art's fantastic.
Like this exact art.
Yeah, this specific art.
Mhm.
I know it's been very controversial with the side profiles, these different cards, and we'll see some more coming down the line here. But I'm fine with them. What do you guys think?
I like them. I know that, like you said, it's been a little polarizing, but I think they're great.
I mean, I love the side profiles. Not a huge fan of this card, but I like it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on to another green card. This is Thief of Existence. It is 1/1 colorless and 1 green mana for a 3/4 creature Eldrazi. It's got Devoid, which means technically it's not green. And when you cast this spell, exile up to 1 target non-creature, non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value 4 or less. If you do, Thief of Existence gains. When this creature leaves the battlefield, target opponent draws a card.
Hmm.
Interesting. Very interesting to see the colorless mana in the mana cost there with a color. Normally we don't see that.
We don't.
Normally, no. What do we think about this card, Steven? You like it?
It's all right. I mean, just get rid of something until this dies. I feel like we see a lot of that. It's nothing like new and exciting, but 3 mana for a 3/4, pretty good.
I mean, it removes it, but
Yeah.
then what the hell? Like, when this creature leaves the battlefield, target opponent draws a card. Why?
I don't
I'm gonna
know.
let you draw a card.
Yeah, sure.
Stupid.
I mean, to get rid of a 4 CMC card, I think that's pretty good.
David did say this was his favorite card.
David says a lot of things.
David does say a lot of things.
I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's removal completely. So I don't know. You get to give someone a card draw.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on. Next up, it's Genku, Future Shaper. It's 2, a white and a blue for a 2/5 legendary creature, Moonfolk Wizard. It says whenever another non-token permanent you control leaves the battlefield, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Create a creature token with those characteristics. You can make a 2/2 white fox with vigilance, a 1/2 blue moonfolk with flying, or a 1/1 black rat with lifelink. It also has another ability you can pay 3 a white and a blue to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. A lot going on here.
Cool.
A lot of good stuff going on here.
Make some
Mhm.
tokens.
Really curious on the black rat.
Why?
I don't know. Seems out of place with Azorius.
Didn't the guy didn't the stream today say they were just all the children of Tamiyo and whatever? I wasn't
Genku.
listening to the lore. Yeah,
This is Tamiyo's husband.
that's what I meant. Yeah. Well, they just had a rat child, dude. And there you go.
Yeah, because like Nashi or whatever that card was.
Mhm. I understand. I just think it's interesting from a perspective of creating off of an Azorius card makes a 1/1 rat. Black rat.
Yeah, but it's lifelink, so it's better. It's a helper.
It's a helper black rat. You're right.
It seems like a fun
I
card,
don't
though. I'd like to see it as a central commander, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, it's a
Yeah,
really good blink commander for sure.
we will definitely be talking about that as a potential commander for sure, because Steven, you hit the nail on the head there. Blinking a non-token makes it leave the battlefield. So, sounds pretty cool.
Also, I think the really cool thing too is fetch lands in this kind of go crazy.
It's also true. It's also true.
Very also true.
Let's move on to a card that I feel like the art is perfect for a retro frame. This is Shadow of the Second Sun. It is 4 and 2 blue for an enchantment aura that says enchant player, probably yourself. At the beginning of enchanted player's post-combat main phase, there is an additional beginning phase after this phase. Look at that old school art, Shane.
Love it. I completely love it. Old school art belongs in old school borders like this, like you said. Love it. We'll call back to, what is it? Second Sun?
Approach.
Approach.
Approach the second sun, yeah.
Drawing cards and winning the game. Cool. Cool card. Like it.
I mean, 2 beginning phases, man. That is solid.
Pretty
Untap
solid,
up the
dude.
draw. Yeah. I
Put
don't
this
know.
in
This
Obeka,
is,
dude.
You could put it in Obeka. You're right. That's another upkeep. And you get to untap and you get to draw. Whoa.
Yeah, you get a lot of stuff.
Get a lot of stuff.
Really cool card.
I love it. And yes, Shane, I do love this old school art too. I'm still on the fence about the borders, but the old art I like. Let's move on. Time to talk about some flip cards. That's right. The story of how certain creatures got their spark. First up, Tamiyo, Inquisitive Student. It is 1 blue mana for a 0/3 legendary creature, Moonfolk Wizard. It's got flying and says, whenever Tamiyo, Inquisitive Student attacks, investigate. It also has another ability that says, when you draw your 3rd card in a turn, exile Tamiyo, then return her to the battlefield transformed under her owner's control. Once transformed, it turns into Tamiyo Seasoned Scholar. It is a legendary planeswalker with the starting loyalty of 2. It has a +2 that says until your next turn, whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, it gets -1/-0 until end of turn. It also has a -3 ability that says return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. If it's a green card, add 1 mana of any color. And a -7 that says draw cards equal to half the number of cards in your library, rounded up. You get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size. That
Pretty
ultimate,
cool.
though.
You can get there, dude.
That ultimate, though, dude. Yeah, it's hard. But, man, if you can get there and you draw your half your library, I think you win?
Maybe.
I don't know. Seems good.
I'm
I
getting
mean,
like
this card's not great.
You don't like
not
it?
great.
No, this card's not good at all.
Why? 1 mana.
Sure.
It's
I mean,
got
I'm getting,
flying and evasion.
I'm getting vibes of like the Jace, the flip Jace, dude, where it was like the creature on the front half similar, and then the back half, the first 2 abilities, pretty similar to Jace. It's pretty. I can see it being played.
I mean, this comes down, ideally, no one is going to, it'll be very hard. I mean, maybe like in a Planeswalker style deck for sure, but like,
Yeah.
I don't foresee this getting played anywhere else. That -7 will never happen.
Disagree. Seems good.
I mean,
don't
unfortunately,
know.
she doesn't really protect herself. I get the plus kind of does, but she is gonna probably take some heat on her.
Oh, don't get me wrong. This will definitely take heat, but you're in mono blue. There's ways to stop stuff happening.
Yeah. All
I
you
don't
have to
know.
attack with a 0 power to investigate.
0 power. Yeah. It's got flying though, so harder to block.
True.
But yeah, I like Tamiyo. We'll move on to a card that you might like, Steven. This is Sorin of House Markov. 1 and a black for a 1/4 legendary creature, human noble. It's got extort, and it says at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, if you gained 3 or more life this turn, exile Sorin of House Markov. Then return him to the battlefield transformed under his owner's control. Once transformed, he turns into Sorin Ravenous Neonate. It is a legendary planeswalker with a starting loyalty of 3. It has extort as well. It has a +2 ability that says create a food token, a -1 that says Sorin deals damage equal to the amount of life you gain this turn to any target, and a -6 that says gain control of target creature. It becomes a vampire in addition to its other types. Put a lifelink counter on it if you control a white permanent other than that creature or Sorin. A lot of text.
I think this
For
card flips
a
so
good
easy.
card.
Yeah, this card flips like almost immediately.
Yeah, pretty much.
1 extort if you're playing in a 4-player game. Gain 3.
Mm-hmm.
Comes down really quick. Lifelink, extort. You gain a 3 life, flip it, -1 it, deal another 3.
Mm-hmm.
Even just having them sit
Seems
around
good.
and be an extort piece that makes you food, that I think that ult is pretty realistic.
Is it a good
I'm not
ult?
even really looking at the ult.
I think it's realistic, though, is what I'm saying.
No, it's realistic. I don't think I don't think I want to ult this one. I really think that keeping it around, creating the food, getting the life, extorting, having a ton of lifelink, especially like in a aristocrats deck like we were talking about earlier. I honestly do think this could be pretty detrimental to a lot of decks.
Yeah. I mean, I am not the biggest fan of that alt. I mean, cool, you can't control it one thing.
Pretty good.
Cool.
Lifelink, dude.
Lifelink, yeah. If you control a white permanent,
Hope
other
you do.
than Sorin or that creature. Hope you do too. But yeah, Sorin, pretty cool. Seeing how he got his spark. Moving on to another one. I got their spark. It's Ral, Monsoon Mage. 1 and a red for a 1/3 legendary creature human wizard. It says instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell during your turn, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, Ral Monsoon Mage deals 1 damage to you. If you win the flip, you may exile Ral. If you do, return him to the battlefield transformed under his owner's control. Once flipped, he is Ral Leyline Prodigy, which is a legendary planeswalker with a starting loyalty of 2. He has a static ability that says he enters the battlefield with an additional loyalty counter on him for each instant and sorcery spell you've cast this turn. Has a +1 ability that says until your next turn, instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. A -2 that says Ral deals 2 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 targets. Draw a card if you control a blue permanent other than Ral. And a -8 that says exile the top 8 cards of your library. You may cast instant and sorcery spells from among them this turn without paying their mana cost.
See, now we're talking.
Getting
Now
better.
we're speaking a language that I enjoy.
All you do is flip a coin to flip him.
So cute.
I think this one's pretty easy to flip. You got a 50% chance of winning.
50-50.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you don't win the flip, the spell still goes through, which is really nice, and you only take 1 damage. I mean, I'll take that all day.
I mean, the starting loyalty is 2, but it will always be at least 3.
Yeah.
So
It
you
is kind
have
of
to
a
cast instant sorcery to flip him, anyways.
bummer. You can't choose to like. It doesn't say like you may, because you're gonna just lose that static spells are cheaper. I get that you can plus them on the backside, but then you're using you're like kind of quote unquote wasting the loyalty to like use that static ability. That's kind of a bummer,
Mhm.
but
I mean, I think with this kind of card, you're just trying to cast a shit ton of spells so you can get to that 8. So that way, when you do flip them, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I get what you're saying.
I'm just saying it sucks
Yeah.
because like so you want to cast a bunch of spells before he flips, but you could flip your first coin and he could flip immediately when you're like, shit, all right, well I got 1 spell. Like when you
Or
were
you don't
trying to.
play him until, you know.
I guess that's
Yeah,
true.
you may exile him. So it's up to whenever you want to,
That's true.
if you want to. I mean, 2 mana to make things cost cheaper is pretty nice.
Oh, then it's a May. Then never mind.
hmm This is the only one with a May so far.
Take back what I said.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, let's move on to the last flipping card. It's Grist, Voracious Larva. It's 1 green mana for a 1/2 legendary creature insect. Got Death Touch. It says whenever Grist or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it entered from your graveyard or you cast it from your graveyard, you may pay 1 green. If you do, exile Grist, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Once transformed, it turns into Grist, the Plague Swarm. It's a legendary planeswalker with a starting loyalty of 3. It has a +1 that says create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token, then mill 2 cards. Put a death touch counter on the token if a black card was milled this way. A -2 ability that says destroy target artifact or enchantment, and a -6 that says for each creature card in your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 1/1 black and green insect.
Golgari
Nice.
doing Golgari things.
I'm also
In-
stoked for you, Hunter. I was like, a 1 mana Death Toucher. Oh wait, it's not
Nope.
solid green. Sorry.
Not. Grist is technically Golgari.
Yep. Cool card though, dude.
but pretty cool. It is pretty cool. That is
Yeah,
for
graveyard
sure.
shenanigans.
I mean, plus it might be. I mean, it should be easier to defend this than anything else. This creates a blocker for you with Death Touch. It's gonna be really good. And let's be honest, you're doing Golgari things, and you'll have blockers for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna be putting a lot of cards in your graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
The art is
And
terrifying.
-6 ain't no joke, man.
Yeah, the art is pretty scary. Grist is an interesting card that we don't see enough of. So maybe we'll see more. But let's go ahead and move on to the next card. This next card is Eladamri Corvectol. It is a 3/3 legendary creature, Elf Warrior. It says you may look at the top card of your library anytime. It also says you may cast creature spells from the top of your library. And it has another ability where you could pay 1 green, tap it, tap 2 untapped creatures you control, reveal a card from your hand or the top of your library. If you reveal a creature card this way, put it onto the battlefield. Activate only during your turn. Also, it costs 1 and 2 green.
Banger,
This
Steven.
card is a banger.
Banger. Free spells are
Absolute
never bad.
banger. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm playing an elf deck. When am I ever gonna have two
Multiple
creatures that I could tap and
Probably
do
never,
this with?
actually. Yeah, never.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
So
pay-
good, man.
I'm gonna pay 1 green. I'm gonna tap this, and then I'm gonna play Ulamog the Defiler.
Yeah.
Thanks.
In your world, yeah, you will.
Thanks.
Yeah,
No big deal.
Eldamri's a no joke.
Yeah, good callback once again. No
Yep.
Domri.
I mean, I
Good-
love
good
they
to see
put
'em.
that safety valve of activate only during your turn because they know. They know.
Well, I mean, yeah, it'd be broken.
Would be pretty broken, but I don't think we can say anything else. But good card, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. This next card is Arna Kennerud, Skycaptain. It's 2, a white, a blue, and a black for a 4/4 legendary creature, human knight. It's got flying. It's got lifelink. It's got ward. Discard a card. And whenever a modified creature you control attacks, double the number of each kind of counter on it. Then for each non-token permanent attached to it, create a token that's a copy of that permanent attached to that creature.
A lot going on here.
That is pretty good. This card is a banger.
Yeah.
You
This
want
card
all,
confuses me.
dude? If you have
Confuses me.
any auras or you have any equipment on that creature, you just make copies of them. Seems good.
Yeah. I like it. Potential commander could be you.
Could be Arna. Yeah, like you said, we will be talking about this more as a potential commander in our commander grades videos. Stay tuned for that. But this card is good.
Put it in the what was that knight precon that Steven played?
Ooh, good point.
Yeah.
That is a great call.
I mean that deck was already broken as it was, so.
Sadar
Dar
Jabari.
Jabbar, thank you. Thank you, Steven.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be
Time
great.
to move on to some precons. That's right. We're going to be talking about the face commanders and the backup commanders. We'll start with Creative Energy. That is the first one we'll talk about. It is helmed by Satya, Aetherflux Genius. It's 1, a blue, a red, and a white for a 3/5 legendary creature, human artificer. It's got menace, it's got haste. And it says whenever it attacks, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of up to 1 other target non-token creature you control. You get 2 energy. At the beginning of your next end step, sacrifice that token unless you pay an amount of energy equal to its mana value. We got copy. We got energy. What do we know about it? Satya.
My favorite comment from the stream was definitely, why is he wearing a beanie in Kaladesh?
He's hipster, dude.
Because he's cool. Exactly.
Ugh.
Hey, energy's a thing, okay, guys?
I mean, with as much energy support as this set's already been given, and then I can only imagine the cards they threw in this and seeing what David was able to do with energy stuff. I'm very scared about this card.
I'm excited to see it. Energy's.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's
I'm
not
gonna
very
be.
explored.
We've gotten our role we're gonna be doing these upgrades soon. I will be upgrading this one.
Are you
So.
excited?
Super! I love energy.
Well, give me some energy,
Speaking-
dude.
Yeah, let's move on to the backup commander for this one. It's Cayth, famed mechanist. It's one, a blue, a red, and a white for a 3/3 legendary creature, dwarf artificer. It's got Fabricate 1. It says other non-token creatures you control have Fabricate 1. And it has another ability to pay 2. Tap it, choose one. You can either populate or proliferate.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Which one are you gonna stick with the face?
Well, because we do both, you will see the backup commander on our Patreon. So stay tuned for
Oh.
the backup upgrade over on Patreon. Stay subscribed. Check the description.
Love it. Been pretty good, dude. Populate and
This seems
proliferate.
good.
Pretty good abilities.
Oh yeah, that's real good.
Especially if you're able to populate like a big token. I mean, I guess even if you can populate like a treasure, but you probably want to be populating big things, right?
Yeah, it populate is going to be just it's for every token you make a copy of that token or make a copy of a token.
I mean, there's no way to break this anyway. So,
Nah, dude, don't even think about it. You know,
like, why would anybody put dramatic reversal, Isochron Scepter in this,
dude, stop.
and then just continue to populate and proliferate to their heart's content? Like,
You can do that in any deck. That's boring. Make something flavorful with this one.
nah, just win.
Nah. Moving on to the Eldrazi deck, it is Eldrazi Incursion. Steven, you will be upgrading this one. It is helmed by a combination of Ulamog and Kozilek. That's right, it's Ulalek, fused atrocity. It costs a combination of different hybrid manas. So it's a hybrid of colorless and white, colorless and blue, colorless and black, colorless and red, and colorless and green for a 2/5 legendary creature Eldrazi. It's got Devoid and it says whenever you cast an Eldrazi spell, you may pay 2 colorless mana. If you do, copy all spells you control, then copy all other activated and triggered abilities you control. You may choose new targets for the copies.
Steven's not gonna be able to break this at all.
It's doing quite a bit there. You're definitely gonna have to put a lot of stuff on the stack.
Yes.
Copy it all, but it's very good.
Crazy. The
Crazy.
mana situation's crazy.
It's technically like I know colorless is not a color, thus the name colorless, but it's a 6-color deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm excited to build this. I'm just also kind of worried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of. I mean, I'm curious to see the land package that comes in the precon.
Ooh,
But having a
that'd be
mix
rough.
of that colored mana and then specifically needing colorless mana to activate this ability, that's the only thing that worries me about it. But
I think that'd be
am
chilling,
excited to play
dude.
this.
It is scary.
You're
I
gonna
get
have
it.
rocks that are just gonna be colorless. Like a lot
I
of
mean,
good
technically, you
utility
don't even
lands.
need colors.
Yeah, dude, a lot of good utility lands just tap for colorless. So you don't have to worry about that. That's like the downside of a lot of lands. You're like, yeah, it only taps for colorless, but in this deck
This
it's
is
great.
just 5 colorless mana.
Yeah.
If you really want to do it like that.
I don't know. I don't think you're gonna have a problem with the mana.
But we'll see. Let's move on to the backup. It's Azlask, the Swelling Scourge. It's 3 generic mana for a 2/2 legendary creature Eldrazi. It says when it or another colorless creature you control dies, you get an experience counter. That's right, experience is back. You can also pay white, blue, black, red, green. Creatures you control get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of experience counters you have. Scions and spawns you control gain indestructible and Annihilator 1 until end of turn.
Cool.
Jesus Christ.
Cool.
Yeah, so
This was the one I was more excited about.
this one's nuts because they've added this new ability where you make little scions that can sacrifice themselves to add colorless mana. So you can continuously to go ahead and get those experience counters because it doesn't say anything about non-tokens. So sacrifice these little things to themselves, and then eventually you'll have a lot of experience counters, and it's gonna get nuts.
Like a crater hoof at home, dude.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
Annihilator.
That you can constantly recur.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting because like I know they spoiled that one. I think it was a 6 CMC black card. You could pick one or more It's basically the black version of Farewell, but they
Oh yeah.
also added remove all counters from all players.
Yep.
So I'm
That's why they
very,
did it.
yeah. I'm just
It-
excited to see because it's before, like, I mean, removing experience counters was, I mean, not
Impossible.
possible. Yeah.
It is
So
impossible.
finally being able to combat that.
Play right now on my Golgari deck. You might see that card.
I mean, I'm sure Farewell's an amazing card. To add a version of that into a deck that doesn't really run it would be insane.
Let's move on to the next deck. It is called Tricky Terrain. David will be upgrading this one. It's helmed by Omo, Queen of Asuva. It's 2 in a hybrid green or blue. It's a 1/5 legendary creature shapeshifter noble. It says whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, put an everything counter on each of up to 1 target land and up to 1 target creature. Each land with an everything counter on it is every land type in addition to its other types. And each non-land creature with an everything counter on it is every creature type.
That's crazy.
Everything.
This is a really cool design in my opinion.
It is actually pretty cool design. I agree with you. Yeah, but everything counter. It's a brand new counter to the game.
New counter, dude.
It's
Parry the
interesting because
pulverizer, dude.
does a Simic land need to be every land type? I don't understand that.
Maybe.
Don't
Why
get it.
not?
Maybe there's some stuff in the deck that synergizes with you have every land type, then
I mean,
But I
are
guess-
there blue and green domain cards?
there are. They
I'm sure,
exist,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Once we see the full list of this deck, I'm sure you'll be like, that makes sense.
That makes sense. Moving on to the backup, it is Geode Moag Ancient. It's 2 a green and a blue for a 2/4 legendary creature elemental. This is when it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green forest dryad land creature token for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game. It also says at the beginning of each combat, land creatures you control get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is GOT's power. That's cool.
Banger.
Forest Dryads are sick, dude.
Yeah, forest dryads are cool. They're creatures that can tap for mana. They're little mana dorks themselves, but I don't know, man. Each time you cast your commander from the command zone,
Yep.
I don't get it.
Why?
Because you want your commander to be in the command zone that many times to make that ability relevant?
No, it's a
I mean, it's
plus
just
for when
helping
it
you with the
dies.
next cost. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. You make 2 when you cast 6, and then if you cast this for 8, you're making 3, which is cool. I don't know. Is it enough? I don't think so.
I think it's pretty good. We'll see.
Yeah. We will see, and we will talk about it more in our commander grades, and of course, you will see this upgrade on our Patreon. Moving on to the final precon deck, that is the Jund one. It is called Graveyard Overdrive. It is helmed by Disa the Restless. It's 2 a black, a red, and a green for a 5/6 legendary creature human scout. It says whenever a Lurgoyf permanent card is put into your graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, put it onto the battlefield. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a Tarmogoyf token. Look at that, Shane. You're upgrading this one. This is Goyfs.
I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, dude. Tarmogoyf is like a very iconic card in Magic. Everyone's seen the Tarmogoyf, and granted, Tarmogoyf has never really been super good in EDH. Been fantastic in other formats, but just getting the token for attacking or dealing damage, this is gonna be pretty fun, dude. I'm excited to see my army of Tarmogoyfs.
I mean, plus they also added that other Goyf, the black one, right?
Yeah.
For
Yep.
the set.
Yep. That one was
Yeah,
a little
there's-
better for
there's-
EDH. Yeah.
I expect this deck to come helmed with all the Goyfs. Just standard, right? It has to.
Would they put the actual Tarmogoyf? Is Tarmogoyf expensive anymore?
It isn't. It's not that good.
Yeah, I know it's not that good anymore in EDH, but that'd be cool to see a Tarmogoyf in the
Cheapest-
deck.
Cheapest copy of Tarmogoyf right now is less than $9.
Oh, then I'm sure we'll see a copy of it in this deck.
$8. That's how much Tarmogoyf is.
That's really cool. Well, I'm just saying, it's gonna be fun to play with a bunch of Tarmogoyfs.
Yeah, definitely. And moving on to the final card we're talking about today, it is the backup to this deck. It's Korum, the Undertaker. It's a black, a red, and a green for a 0/5 legendary creature human warrior. This Korum, the Undertaker, gets +X/+0, where X is the greatest power among creature cards in all graveyards. And whenever Korum attacks, each player mills a card. Then it also says that during each of your turns, you may play a land and cast a spell from among cards in graveyards that were put there from libraries this turn. There's a lot going on here.
A lot of good stuff.
A lot of
Mhm.
good stuff, dude.
I agree. It is pretty good.
Like
Definitely a different direction than the Goyfs.
like a
Kind of a
Captain
Goyf,
and
though.
Gethrod, dude. Mill stuff and then play it.
Little stuff, play it. Yeah,
Cool.
pretty cool.
I'm excited to build this one too.
Yeah. But yeah, that's do you have anything else to add there, Steven?
No, kind of wish I was playing the Jund deck now.
But that is going to do it for us today. Made it this far, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. Comment down below. What was your guys' favorite card we talked about today? Speaking of which, what was your favorite card we talked about, Steven?
Oh, that's a tough one. There were a lot of good ones. But I'm gonna have to give it to Eladamri for sure.
Yeah, Eladamri is pretty good.
I got one for you, Hunter.
Give it to me, Shane. What you got?
White Orchid Phantom. RFK, baby.
Yeah, and I think I'm just gonna go with the obvious answer. It's Ulamog, the Defiler. It's a cop out. It's an amazing card. It's my favorite for sure. But yeah, go ahead and check the description for links because, like I said in the beginning, we only talk about the rares and mythics. If you want to see all of them, check Instagram at Guys at Magic, and while you're over there, check the other links. That's Twitter and TikTok, also at Guys at Magic. And on the screen right now, that's right, those are all of our Patreon subscribers. Thank you guys so much for your added support. It means the world to us. If you guys wanted to see what they are seeing, which is not here on YouTube, including backup upgrades, check the link in the description below and consider subscribing. And until the next video, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Bye.
Bye bye.